everyone, welcome to another session of strength. Today we're doing 30 minutes head to toe, really focusing on the center on that powerhouse. Let's go ahead and get started. I want those feet about hip distance apart. Take a nice deep inhale, reaching tall. You're getting all that air, all that energy in, and big exhale, blow all that air out. Belly button comes right in toward that spine. Go ahead, do that again. Inhale, reach. You're really lengthening through the spine, through the upper body, and exhale, all that negative air comes right out. One more time, just like that big inhale up. I'm just going to turn sideways so you can see me. Take that exhale. I'd like you to forward fold. Get all that air out of that tummy. Hands are right in front of those toes. We'll hang here for just a second. Get a nice stretch through the backs of those legs. And from here, I want you to take those hands, walk them forward. We're going to come into our high plank. And I believe that there is no better way to warm up that body than coming into a high plank. So when we're in this pose, our shoulders are right over top the elbows, right over top the wrists. Head is right in line with that neck and spine. Glutes are squeezed tightly, squeezing up through the inner thighs. You're tightening the front and back of those legs, those quads, those hamstrings. Heels are looking straight up. Now, if you ever want to modify this position, you can always drop down to those knees. Whether you're on your knees or those toes, we're still squeezing everything in that body. And you're getting those isometric contractions, which is really going to work just about every single muscle group. From here, let's go ahead and lower that torso toward the floor. Elbows tuck in right by that rib cage. Big exhale, press away. So we're waking up those triceps, the backs of the arms here. Remember, you have those options. Option 1 is to stay on those toes. Option 2, you can drop down to those knees. Let's hold at the top. Get those outer thighs. So I want you to take those feet, walk them nice and wide, and then come back into center. Alternating as you do this with that starting leg. Try and minimize any kind of hip shake or hip sway. Same with the shoulders and the wrists. You want to keep the rest of that body nice and still. Last time here. And let's hold that high plank. Hold 3. Hold 2. Let's go ahead and sit back on those knees, on those heels into that child's pose. Quick stretch here for that upper body, for those shoulders. So anytime that we're in that high plank, we really want most of that weight to kind of be centered between that chest and just below that belly button. But those shoulders, of course, really get nice and toasty. Let's go ahead and rock forward onto those palms, coming right back up into that high plank. And plank is something that you can do just about any time, anywhere. You need about the space of your height. And there's so many different variations that you can do while you're in this pose. So from here, let's go ahead and take one leg away. We're squeezing the back of that body, that glute. Every time we lift a heel up, and we're only bringing that leg about as high as that glute and that spine. You just want to feel that tiny pinch in that butt. We don't need to get too crazy with these extensions. Go one more each side. And go ahead, hold that plank, hold. We'll go ahead and revisit these planks, but for now, let's go ahead, slowly lower that body down to the floor, all the way down with that stomach. We're in that prone position. So prone is belly down, side down. Supine is on your belly side up. An easy way to remember that is if you were to ask somebody for a bowl of soup, you'd have those palms facing up toward the ceiling. So let's go ahead, press that belly button into the floor. We're contracting those abdominals. One hand is right on top of the other. You can go ahead and drop that cheek on top of those hands if you like. I'm just going to keep mine lifted so you can hear me. We're going to fire up that lower half. So take those feet, bring them away from the floor so the tops of the thighs and those kneecaps are lifted away as well. And we'll just go ahead with some easy flutters for right now. Just getting that lower half ready for what's to come. And squeezing through those glutes, even through those inner thighs. So from about that groin area down toward those kneecaps. They're starting to wake up just a little bit. And still keeping the knees and the thighs lifted away from the floor. I'm going to take those heels, quickly beating them toward one another. So those feet are making about a V. Toes are pointed far away from the body. Keeping that nice lift. You feel a little bit of warmth in that low back. Definitely squeeze through those glutes. You can actually feel that butt cheek getting a little bit more supple, a little bit more round with each beat of those heels. We've got 4 more. 3, 2, let's go ahead and relax those feet down. Hands are coming right underneath those shoulders, elbows by your side, toes are tucked under, head is right in line with that neck and spine. On your next exhale, I want you to press up into that high plank. Beautiful. From here, let's take that inside leg. We're going to draw that knee into the elbows, extend away for a little pinch in the butt, and then bring it to the outside of that same elbow. So same leg is working. We're going to keep that inside leg where it is. We're in that tripod stance. Got a little lower ab and a little bit for the side. Let's just go 2 more here. Remember, you can always drop down to that knee if you need to. You're still contracting everything in that body. And let's go ahead and hold that plank pose. Reposition that body if you need. Same thing other side. Point the toes of that inside leg away. And we're coming in and outside that elbow. Crunching in. Remembering to breathe. Nice natural rhythm to that breath. Let's go 2 more. And go ahead, reposition that foot. We're in that plank. Squeezing everything head to toe. Keeping those fingers nice and wide. So starfish for bases. Keep those shoulders in check. And let's go ahead and sit back on those heels. Reach with that upper body. Well-deserved stretch here. Let's take that arm, thread it through, dropping a shoulder down to the ground. You can take that head and look toward those fingertips of that stretched arm. Let's go same thing other side. Feel a nice stretch all along that back, that shoulder. Let's go ahead, come into a tabletop position. So we're on all fours this time. Those knees are about 2 to 3 inches apart. Now, in keeping those knees kind of close together, a little bit less than hip distance, what we do is we really throw off the body. So we make it unstable, which means that the stabilizers, so those muscles in the tummy, muscles in the low back, really have to come into gear here, really kind of kick it up a notch to play. When we're going to take those hands, we will place them right underneath the elbows and those shoulders. Let's take that inside leg, lifting it away from the floor, flexing through that knee, flexing that heel. I want you to just press that shoe right up toward the sky, really feeling that pinch once again in that glute area, a little bit for the hamstring. So these are little ups and downs. Again, nice natural rhythm with that breath. Beautiful, just a few more here. Let's go 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3. We're going to take that working leg, extend it all the way back behind, point those toes away. We're going to lower down and squeeze up. So once again, with those hip extensions, we're only coming up a little bit. You're going to feel that pinch right in that butt. It'll really squeeze as you come to the top. We don't want to extend too much because we want to keep that low back nice and safe. Let's go 3 more here. Last 2, looking great. And let's take that working leg, coming back down, repositioning that body. Again, knees are about 2-3 inches apart. Take a couple of breaths here. On your inhale, I want you to go ahead, press the belly button down, look up toward the lights, and exhale, pull that navel in toward the spine, blowing all that air out. You're letting that head hang between the elbows. Once again, inhale, look up, make that smile face with that body, and exhale. Just a few more like that. Really getting that belly button down on that inhale. You feel a good stretch in the torso, and exhale. Nice and high through that spine. Get it lifted up, up, up. And go ahead, flatten that back. Head is right in line with neck and spine again. About a flat board. Let's take that opposite leg. We're going to bend at that knee, flexing through that heel. We're pressing that sneaker right up toward the lights. Imagining that you have your favorite colored paint on the bottom of that sneaker. You're making the most beautiful mural up there. Right? It could probably rival the Sistine Chapel. Couple more. We're really lifting through the back of that leg. You want that thigh to come down only about 1 inch or 2. And then press it right back up. Really guiding with the heel of that sneaker. Excellent. Excellent. Let's go 4 more. 3, 2, and we're going to straighten that leg. Toes are back behind, lower down, and squeeze tall. Lower down and squeeze. So it's great doing the same thing on each side when you make the body even, which is most important. But you know exactly what's coming when it's coming, so there's no surprises. Good. You're mentally preparing that body. All right, let's go 3 more. Everything else nice and still. Hips are in line. And relax that leg down. Let's go ahead and sit on those heels. You can actually shift that weight to that leg that was just working, reaching with that upper body. And let's take those hips, other side. And let's come into our high plank position one last time before we switch. Those wrists might start to feel a little sore or a little bit worked. You can always take a stretch if you need to, roll them out, or you can come up onto palms, or excuse me, fists, or you can always drop down to your forearms if you need to. But last time here in that high plank, squeezing the glutes, the quads, the hamstrings, pulling that belly button in. I want you to take those hips, look straight up toward the ceiling, and then come back down to that flat board. Pull that belly button in as you raise those hips up. Good. We're just preparing for our next move. Hands and feet should really stay exactly where they are. We're just squeezing that center, kind of hinging up. Good. And this time I want you to take one hand, bring it away, and tap the opposite shin as those hips come up, lower down. Same thing other side. So you're sort of acting on a tripod again, which means that that body is becoming unstable. And you're reaching just a little bit farther, getting a little bit more of that hinge through those hips with each rep. Just a couple more each way. Squeeze as you come up. Last one here, I promise. We're going to hold that plank pose. Hold, hold. Hold 3, 2, and slowly lower down. Get that chest all the way down. Beautiful work. Let's go ahead and roll over. So we're belly side up. We're in that supine position. Let's go ahead and work our abdominals just a little bit. And then from here, we'll go ahead into a bridge position. So we'll focus a little bit more on the waist on down. Then we'll roll back over and finish off with some more stomach. So we're going to take those knees, drawing them in toward the chest. So those knees are right over top those hips. You've got a nice 90-degree bend through the backs of the legs and in that hip joint. On your next exhale, I'd like you to take the shoulders, peel them up and away from the floor. So we're in now what's called our upper ab curl, which means that our chin is tucked slightly toward our chest, a little bit of space between the two. Eyes are right on that belly button or on the tops of the thighs. That's really going to help with that neck muscle. It's going to save it. So I don't want any looking up at the ceiling. Let's place those hands right by our sides. We're going to inhale, extend the arms and legs. Exhale, circle the arms, draw the knees in. Inhale, reach and lengthen. And exhale, draw in. The lower that those limbs are traveling, the harder that that tummy is going to work. So choose your zone. Make it a little easier. You can keep the legs higher, or you can actually keep those knees exactly where they are and just circle the arms around. It's up to you. Let's go 2 more. And keeping that upper ab curl, we're going to draw one knee in toward the chest, opposite leg away. You can actually go ahead and hold on to that leg if you like. You can either point the toes away, you can flex, it's up to you. And we're just going to quickly draw these knees in toward the chest. You get a bonus hip flexor stretch here. Remembering that nice natural breath. Still contracting everything in that center. Beautiful. A few more switches. And let's go ahead and straighten the legs this time. We're going to make an L. And just as we did with bent knees, we're going to draw one leg in quickly toward that chest and let the other one fall. We have 3 more switches. Bonus hamstring stretch here. Feels so good. And let's go ahead and relax the head down, draw the knees in. You can shake side to side. Get a little spine stretch. Take a couple of breaths here. And on that next exhale, I'd like you to take those shoulders, lift them away from the floor, coming back into that upper ab curl, hands behind the head. Now they're just there for support, so we're going to come into our bicycle. When we do our bicycle, I want that shoulder to aim toward the thigh. So notice how my elbow is so nice and wide. It's just kind of my periphery and actually not really so much. So I don't want to see any elbows here. We want to keep that space open, keep that chest nice and proud. You want to keep those knees, again, right above those hips when you draw one leg back in toward the center. And try and challenge that body. Keep those shoulders lifted away from the floor whole time. Working on those deep abdominals here. This one is a toughie. Especially if you have those shoulders lifted. Oh, you totally feel the difference, right? Let's go 3 more. 2 switches each side. Stay strong. You've got this. Go ahead, relax the shoulders down. I'd like you to take those feet. They're about hip distance apart. We're going into a normal crunch, but I'd like you to place one hand directly on top of the other, and we're just going to push through the space, right through those inner thighs. Again, keeping that chin tucked toward the chest. Little pulses, so those shoulder blades are actually staying lifted the whole time. These are kind of quick, a little quicker than that normal rep. That 8, 7, 6, 4 more. 3, 2, and relax those shoulders down. Excellent. Let's go ahead, take those arms, reach them straight overhead. Lengthen those feet too. Take a couple of breaths here. You're really lengthening everything we just contracted, which was about from the hip bone up toward that chest. Excellent. Let's go ahead, bring those feet back in. Relax those arms right by your sides. Draw those knees right over top into that tabletop position again. Big exhale, we're lifting the shoulders up and away from the floor. One knee comes in, opposite leg comes out. Now you have a couple options. One, you can place the hands on that shin for a little bit of support, or if you need to modify. Option 1, make it a little harder. You can keep those hands by your sides. I want little pulses up and down. So no shoulder blades once again are touching the floor. Just a few more. 3, 2, go ahead and hug those knees in. Whew. Hold here, you get a breath or two here. You can shake side to side once again. Little massage for that spine. And on your next exhale, back into tabletop. Lift those shoulders up. Opposite leg comes out. Fingertips toward the toes or on that shin. And we're pulsing up. Now, if you're holding onto that leg, I really don't want you to tug and pull those shoulders up, right? They're just there for that added little feel good. So let's go 3, 2, and relax the shoulders down. Beautiful work. Last time, shake side to side. Let's go ahead and plant those feet down. They're about hip distance apart. So another small fun fact, hips are only about 2 fist widths apart from one another. So oftentimes people think that their hips are like this wide. They're really, really not, I promise. So feet are kind of close to the glutes. You want to be able to have all 4 corners of that foot pressed firmly into the floor. Upper body is rested by your side. You're going to squeeze the glutes. Now when we squeeze the back of that body, we're going to keep it engaged the whole time, okay? Promise me that you'll do it. I'll give you plenty of reminders. It's easy to forget. When you're all set, nice and slowly, we're going to peel the back of that body up and away from the floor, pressing those hips right up toward the ceiling. So you want about a flat line, knees, hips, all the way up through those shoulders. And you should feel this just in the butt, just in the backside for now. You really shouldn't feel much, if at anything at all, on those hamstrings. And we're squeezing those glutes. Let's go ahead and lower those hips down and nice and easy, press them right back up to start. Lowering down, still squeezing. Feet are nice and light on the floor. Shoulders relaxed, same thing with that neck and head. It's just that midsection. That low back starts to really come into play here. So as you're lowering down, you can feel that navel getting heavy toward that spine. And when you come back up for that tilt, you can feel that low back engaging to get that belly button back up toward the lights. Let's go 2 more like this. And we'll keep the exercise. We're just going to take the heels away from the floor. So you're wearing a high heel on each foot, still squeezing those glutes together. Imagine that you have a pencil or a penny that's in between those cheeks and you need to hold it there the whole time. We don't want to let it drop. But when we have those heels lifted, we're also engaging those calf muscles. And I promise you that you are going to feel this in the backs of those legs, probably tomorrow, most likely the next day, maybe even a third day. But it gets easier the more you do it. And it's that good kind of sore where you know you really worked something and the muscle's kind of ready already to work again. Let's go one more like this. Hold at the top. That inside heel comes down. Outside leg looks straight up toward the ceiling. We're lowering down and pressing up. We're still squeezing through that glute, okay? That leg that's in the air, it's not doing nothing, right? So it's a little bit of a stretch for the hamstring. And by keeping it nice and still, we're really activating that thigh. And of course, we're really digging through the heel of that foot that's on the floor. Let's go 2 more. And hold at the top, hold, hold. Relax that leg, hold that bridge position. Give me a few breaths here. One more, big inhale, big exhale. And go ahead and relax down. Let's take that inside leg, bending at the knee, place that ankle on the opposite thigh, draw that leg in. A well-deserved stretch for that piriformis, that nice meaty muscle group that we just worked. Don't worry, we'll hit the other side fairly soon. Let's go ahead and drop both of these knees toward me. Take the upper body, looking in the opposite direction, remembering to keep those shoulders planted on the floor. Nice little spinal twist. And go ahead, come back center. Place both those feet back down, repositioning into that bridge pose. Take those glutes, squeeze them up again, okay? I know they're probably a little tired, a little bit sore. They might not want to squeeze, but just do it. Go ahead and take those hips, lift them straight up toward the ceiling. We're holding here, hold, hold. And from here, I want to take those heels once more, lifting them up and away from the floor. So again, you're engaging those calves. Let's march here. So we're alternating a knee in toward that chest. We're keeping everything else nice and still. Low back, woohoo. You sort of feel a little bit off balance as you peel that leg away, and you should. So really focus on pulling that belly button in toward that back to keep everything nice and still. Keep those hips from swaying. One more each side here, please. And we'll take that inside leg, or I'm sorry, I lied. Let's take that outside leg, drop that heel down, inside leg, look straight up. We're lowering down and pressing tall, really digging through that heel of that working side. Again, you know exactly what's coming when it's coming. So that brain is like, okay, we get this. We can tell the body what to do. It feels so good. Good, keep that inside leg nice and straight, really activating from that kneecap through that hip of that inside leg. 2 more here. And let's hold at the top, relax that inside leg, reposition if you need to. Hold, hold, hold 3. Get those hips up, come on, squeeze those glutes, last push, hold 2. Do you like how long my seconds last? And nice and slowly drop that vertebrae down, one little bone at a time. Excellent, let's go ahead, take that working leg, bending at that knee again, place that ankle on that other thigh. Oh, draw those legs in. So we have just a few minutes left. I want to go ahead and target the front of that tummy once more. I'll do a little bit for outer thigh and probably finish in some plank poses. Probably means definitely. Take those knees, drop them away from me, reaching with that upper body. Beautiful job. Let's go ahead and bring those knees slowly back up to look at the ceiling. Relax that upper body by your sides. Reposition if you need to. Once again, really scooping out that center. So you're making that smile face from the hips up towards the shoulders. Belly button in, draw those knees up toward that chest. Big exhale, lift the shoulders away. Take those legs. I really want you to focus on gluing them together. So hold your position. I really want you to squeeze nice and tightly, one leg toward the other. You're activating those inner thighs, whether or not you believe it. you don't need to move, right, in order to have a muscle contraction. So we're pressing, we're gluing, we're Velcroing, whatever adhesive it is that you like to use best. Keeping the shoulders lifted, palms look down, extend the legs away from you. Now to make this a little easier, you can draw them up. To make it a little harder, we're lowering down. When we're in this V-sit, this hold, you really want that belly button in toward that back. Hold your position. You want that low back really kissing that floor whole time. So if that low back starts to kind of feel like it wants to peel up and away from the floor, take those legs and draw them a little closer to you. So let's just hold about 3 more breaths. 2 little flutters here. So little ups and downs with those legs, still keeping those shoulders lifted, belly button in, nice and heavy. You're wearing a seat belt right over top that midsection. It's pulling you down into the ground. And relax those shoulders, draw those knees in toward the chest. You can give a little shake side to side if you like. We're coming right back into that upper ab curl. Take both legs, look straight up toward the ceiling. Oof, it's a little tough if you have stiff hamstrings like me, but that's okay. We really want to activate those legs, so really imagine that you're pushing. You have something on the bottom of both sneakers, and you're really focusing on pushing it up while that heavy object is trying to push you down. So once you kind of do that, you feel a little bit of the back of the legs kind of kick in, right? So let's take those shoulders, lift them away, fingertips look straight up. Take one arm and the opposite leg, lower toward the ground, and draw back to center. Lowering the other limbs, and back to center. If you need to, you can shorten that distance that that leg travels, makes it a little bit easier for that low back. But we only have a few reps. Go ahead and challenge yourself. Take those legs, look straight up toward the ceiling. Keep those legs long, lifted. Try and keep them nice and still as those limbs drop down toward the floor. One more each side. And go ahead, relax those shoulders down. Draw those knees in. And give a little shake side to side. Beautiful. Let's go ahead, roll over onto one side, nice and easy. I'd like you to actually come into a side kneeling position. And from here, we're going to target that outer thigh. Now, these are really, really tough, so we don't do too many reps. You don't need to. In time, I think what we'll do is actually bump up the number of sets that we do. So take one hand, we're going to place it on the floor, shoulder, elbow, wrist in one straight line. We're going to bend that inside leg. We're going to stay on that knee. Take that outside leg, extend it away from the body. So we're in that tilted position. Let's take that leg, lift it away from the floor. We're going to lower down and give a little lift. That leg is coming just about outside that hip zone. Nothing too crazy. Last 2 here. And we're going to keep this leg lifted. We want it right in line with that hip and about that shoulder. Flex through that hip, point the toes, and sweep away. Now we want the rest of that body to try and stay nice and still. I know that sometimes it wants to sway in opposition. Really focus on pulling the belly button in toward that spine. We have one more. And point those toes away. Give me small circles to the front. And to the back for 5. Oh, relax down. It's that last one that really gets you, right? All right, same thing, other side. Hand down, shoulder right over top that elbow and wrist, that outside leg. Heel is flexed, we're just lifting and lowering, getting that outer thigh ready. Once again, waking it up. And let's go ahead, take that leg. We're going to keep it right in line with that hip and shoulder. Flex through that hip, point the toes, sweep away, small extension. Try and get as much flexion as you can out of that leg. Try and keep that leg in one straight line, one plane whole time, so we're not shaking down, right, or letting it fly up. Last time here, and let's go ahead, point those toes, circles to me. All that movement's coming from right here, that hip, opposite way. 5 or more, 3 here, 2, and relax that knee down. Whew. Go ahead, sit onto those hips. Shift that weight to that working side and the other side that we just worked. Awesome, let's rock forward. Forearms this time, we're coming into our plank. We have about 2 minutes to go, that's it. Stick with me. You've got this. Again, knees or toes in that plank position. Hips square with one another, right over top of that floor. Nice flat board. Shoulders are right over top the elbows. From here, let's go ahead and walk up into a high plank and back down to a forearm plank. Opposite hand goes this time. Coming up, up, and down, down. Now, if you'd like to, stay on those toes, but make it a little easier. You can widen that stance, or of course, you can drop down to those knees. So we're really getting those deltoids here. And down, down. Hips stay as still as possible. Hold at the bottom, hold that forearm plank. Give me 3 breaths. 2. And relax down to those knees. Sit back on those heels. You can actually take those knees, widen them a little bit, get a little deeper into that stretch. You feel that low back start to kind of elongate. Get a little bit for the inner thighs and tops of those legs. And let's go ahead, come back into those heels. Press those feet onto the floor, roll up nice and easy. 1 vertebrae at a time. You can give a little pause. Let that head hang, hit the backs of those legs. Easy, easy, easy as you come up, squeezing through the glutes, kind of hanging like a rag doll. Bring those shoulders to the back. Give me 2 deep inhales and exhales. And exhale out. 1 more, biggest breath of your week in. And exhale all the air out. Excellent job. Thank you so much for joining me. Check me out for more workouts. Have a great day.